Hi, I'm Natalie Callback, and I'm so thrilled to have Catherine Scanlon here today. She's an artist from Maine and a 6-year veteran of Creative Jumpstart. She works in the paper crafting industry and also creates amazing coloring books. She does stamp designs for Art Gone Wild, and she also works in the marketing and art department of Artsy Momentor, as if that wasn't enough, right? But let's see her wonderful face. Okay. Hey, Kat, you're on.
Hey Natalie, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a little cold here in Maine.
Did it snow?
We got 6 inches of snow, but tomorrow it's supposed to be like sub-zero. Not ready.
No, I'm not.
I think a retreat in the Bahamas would work right about now.
I'm with you.
We should do that instead of other things we do in January is rent a house somewhere warm and go there.
I think you're onto something. We totally should do that. So, Kat, for the one I know you for many, many years. Actually, Kat has been a big inspiration for me in the beginning when I started out with the whole like mixed media paper crafting adventure, and she was a big idol of mine. She still is. So it's so awesome to have her now. And but some people might not know you. So, Kat, tell us a little bit about yourself and your artwork.
Well, I've lived in Maine for most of my life. Live in a little family compound. My parents live like 50 yards down the road, and my brother lives over there. My art really is a piece of who I am. Like when I create something, it's a piece of me, and when I give it to somebody or I try to sell it, it's really hard. I have like all of this art that's really hard for me to part with because it's a piece of who I am. That being said, I create art all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Periods in my life when I haven't been creative, I've felt kind of like, I don't want to say dead, but just like something is totally missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm like inspired to start painting again or drawing or whatever, I feel like my whole heart, my whole mind just comes alive.
What's the longest time you think you have stopped creating? Like,
I want to say there was a period of time, 2 or 3 years, and you just like, you feel like you're always searching. You're always searching. Like there's something missing. What is it? And then you see something sparks. Somebody's painting, or you're doing what, and you're like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, what if I can't do it anymore? What if I've forgotten?
Right.
What if it's not there? And then you just have to get over that fear and jump right in and do it.
That's true. And that actually leads me to another question. So what is your creative process usually? Like, how does
funny. It's different. It's different. Like I could be looking at Instagram and see something and it's going to stick right up in my head, and it'll stick and it'll stick and it'll stick. And then all of a sudden I'll jump up off the couch and I'll come into my studio and I'll be just like paint, and then there it is. And then other times it just has to percolate. Like I'll see something and I'm inspired by it and I like it, but doing that particular piece of art will be almost like copying that person, and I don't like to do that. So it kind of percolates inside my mind, and then all of a sudden it'll just jump right in. Something will happen and I'll be like, oh, that's how I can make it mine. And then I'll go and create. But I'm very like immediate.
Do you do art every day? Like you go every day at the same time into your...
Not the same time. But I do art every day. So where I work for Momenta is an hour and a half away. So my husband and I we travel together, and I have an hour before my work starts. So I go to this little coffee shop and I draw every morning. So yes, every morning I draw. I start my day out, or I'll end my day. If I want to watch TV and not fall asleep because I'm exhausted, I will draw.
Right, I do the same thing.
I have to keep my hands busy.
Otherwise you're just like...
Yeah. My creative process is so different. Like, I'll be just like, oh, I haven't done that for a while, and I'll just get out my stuff and do it. It's different from day to day, hour to hour.
That's cool. So I have from you or of you, whatever English is right. I have actually two books, and you wrote those, and you actually included one of the first one was I think was it called Crazy Stitching or
No, it was uh, something 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 sewing on paper.
That's so funny. But you actually you did like kind of like collage scrapbooking included um, yeah collage and sewing and the second book was more like collage and assemblage if I recall right.
Assemblage, like,
Yeah.
less like flat collage and more like assembling things with photos and paper
Right.
and butterfly wings and that kind of stuff.
But that was pretty awesome. So you always have been mixing and matching things. So what do you do? What do you mix and match nowadays? Like what would you say is like your typical to go things in mixed media that you like to combine?
Oh my gosh, that is that is like, do you have 4 hours to talk about that? There's I like to mix photos with vintage stuff, and I buy these poetry books and I make found poetry
Oh, cool.
and tissue paper and old books. And it's what's really funny is I make stuff for this local store that's for consignment, and I made these little houses, and I've like ripped this paper out of the book and I collaged it on my little houses, and I'm looking at the words after I'm done, and they're talking about the private parts of cats. And I was like, oh, I really need to pay more attention to that. But, you just get so caught up in the moment and so excited to share, to do whatever it is you're doing. I just am inspired by stuff.
Mhm.
Like, you might see something as, say, an old Jell-O mold, for example. This is something I was recently working with, and I'm looking at it as like a little frame for something.
Mm-hmm.
You might see something as just a twig, but I'm looking at it as a way to incorporate nature into what I do. And I'm inspired by nature. That's something that is really important to me, is the beauty of nature and sharing that.
Yeah, you draw a lot of flowers, right? You're like from the garden or sometimes I think out of your memory or right. So and that's actually part of your illustrations too for your coloring books and cards and stamps too, which
Yeah.
is like pretty amazing. I love those.
I have this immense love of gardening and flowers. And I think I blame that on my mom because my mom like gardens and has a lot of flowers. And when I first built my house, she gave me these roots that came from my grandmother's house for peonies.
Oh, cool.
And they're just like, when I think about how old these roots are and the fact that they were in my grandmother's yard, and then I have pictures of these same flowers with my grandmother and her mother in the same picture, like it just
That's
makes
amazing.
some emotion in me that I just can't. I have to capture that. I have to share that feeling with people, and how I do that is I combine these beautiful flowers with words that mean something to me.
That is so cool. I never knew that. That makes me love it even more because with that story, by the way, never ask me to water your flowers when you're on vacation because I'm the worst gardener in the world. Everything that is a plant will die when I'm around. I just
My
have to look
mom
at it.
tells me that I have a green thumb.
I have a brown thumb, unfortunately.
dig a hole and plop it in and give it some water and
Want to come to me and like make my deck look good again?
Okay. But you have to water it after I go home.
Well, I do water it. It just doesn't stay. So, Kat, you also, as I mentioned before, your Creative Jumpstart is now running for the 6th time, and you have been with us from the beginning on. This is your 6th year, and which I thank you so much for that. I love your videos every time. I'm so excited, and your video that's coming up is awesome too. Again, we will talk about it later, but what do you personally like about Creative Jumpstart, and what do you think people get out of it?
I love that it's a fresh start. The beginning of the year is a fresh start, and it seems like with the heaviness of the holidays and New Year and all the heaviness of life, this is a way that you can spend 10, 15, 20 minutes being inspired by somebody to use materials in a different way, being able to be inspired by somebody, and then learning how you can see all of the people that are with Creative Jumpstart. We're given the same parameters. Mm-hmm. We're given the same kind of set of rules or the same set of tools, and we have to create something. And so gathering 27 people together and to see what they do with those parameters is an inspiration in itself. Mm-hmm. Just to see that my video takes what I love and incorporates lots of different pieces, and then you're going to look at somebody like Ray Sigmund and how she's inspired by that. That to me just boggles my mind that you've been able to gather such wonderfully creative, wonderful artists together to share that. And there's something that you can learn from each person. Even if you don't like my style, you think I'm silly, you don't like my colors, there's something that you can get from what I teach you.
I think so too. Besides, you're an amazing teacher, but I always think you are. But I always think that's what I like about it too. Is like even if I know a certain I don't know every technique, but even if I know a certain technique, there's always something that one of you does do differently, or explains it in a different way, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that makes so much sense.
Why didn't I think of that?
Exactly. So that's what I love about it too. And actually, I think like gathering you guys together and seeing the videos and what you come up with, because of course when I think of the theme, I have my vision. But then I see 26 other visions of how you guys interpreted it or used certain tools. Like the years before, we used certain supplies, or we had all kinds of stuff.
Last year was a struggle for me.
Some people loved it, and they're like now struggling because they don't have those parameters. And I think it's so important for us as artists too, that it makes you go out of your comfort zone sometimes. That's
important. And the other part of Creative Jumpstart that I really, truly love, and I think about this every year or whenever I'm getting ready to teach something, and it's something that Heidi Swab said to me years ago, is you have to share what you know. In order to receive more creativity, inspiration, whatever, you have to share it and give it away so that you can be open to receiving more. And so by sharing what I do and then seeing what you do with it and you do with it, and all the wonderful people that share on Instagram and on their blogs how they've interpreted my lesson, I gain so much from that. And that is a gift.
Right. Yeah, I hear what you say. Like, especially, I'm in the same way. When you see what other people do, inspired by your videos or your in-person workshops, it's just like that's the best thing about it, actually, right? Give us a little hint what your video for Creative Jumpstart is about.
A little collage, a little mark making, a little doodling, and a lot of great color.
Ooh, Ooh, I of course know what it is, and it's all that.
The collage part is the best part.
I think I like the mark making part a lot too. I really like that.
That was fun. Oh, I could give you a visual sneak peek.
Ooh.
This was my practice piece that I did on just regular old printer paper.
Cool.
Colors are different, but I just wanted to see how it would turn out.
And wait till you see the piece she made in her video too. Ha 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 ha. So cool. It was so cool to have you, Kat. Is there anything you would like to add? Like, where can people find you? Are you teaching classes, or do you have new things coming?
Let's see. I'm not teaching in a lot of classes. Like I said, I work in Portsmouth, and it's a long haul. And so I work for Momenta, and they have some brands called Artsy. They have the most amazing paint and fun products. I do their marketing and Facebook stuff. I make stuff for them all the time. I'm working with, I have new stamps coming out with Arc on Weld for January. And I have a new coloring book coming out with Adorn It.
Nice.
And I'm hoping other things with them. Some really fun things, I'm hoping.
So your new stamps are coming out like mid-January or like
yes. And I don't even know if I have any sneak peeks of that, but I think they'll be released at CHA.
Nice.
And I feel like this last year I've challenged myself to work harder, be more to be better in my drawing, and I think that you'll definitely see a change in my art. And comparing it to past years, it's I really feel like I've come to the next level in my art.
So you mean you got even better?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is it. This is the last 6 months of my life, this book.
Oh, you did all sketching in there?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find something I can share with you. Let's see. Oh yeah, this will be one of my new stamp designs.
Ooh, this is awesome. Each cup of tea represents an imaginary voyage or voyage. As the German says. I love this. This is amazing.
So it doesn't have the sentiment is not that, but the flowers in the cup.
That is so cool. I can't wait to see the whole line.
I think I've taken, they say through practice you get better, and then all the drawing that I do, I want to say that I draw and things every single day.
Cool. Well, Kat, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Natalie.
And yeah, you can sign up for Creative Jumpstart under nataliestudio.com/CJS, or go to, we will post Kat's link too, and she's going to post an interview too, so probably we'll have the link underneath the video. And thank you, Kat, for being with us. And see you soon. Happy holiday.
Happy holiday.
Bye.